YouTube, how's it going? Welcome back to the video. Today I wanted to make a little bit of a prediction video on the player of the month coming out to, well, the player of the month program rather, coming out to MLB The Show 22 in April. The player of the month programs every single month is basically the most look forward to program every single month in MLB The Show. Heading to MLB The Show 22, we've already gotten a little bit of a tease rather with the program with the Tops Now players being incorporated into the monthly program, but the big diamonds are yet to come. We're going to discuss what those are by first looking back in the past at how many diamonds we could be looking at here. So in total in this program last year, we had 9 different cards totaling off with a 95 overall Byron Buxton player of the month card. And this card was amazing. Not only was Buxton amazing, but he was also, again, 95 overall. First of all, I don't think the player of the month for April this year is going to be that high of an overall. It seems like they're kind of tapering that off a little bit. So I would expect like a 92 or a 93 overall April player of the month, but maybe I'm wrong and maybe we have a 94, 95 overall card. But let's go into some of my guesses at who the headlining card is going to be, some of the diamonds leading up to it as well. Last year, you know, I think the April Player of the Month program was one of the more iconic Player of the Month programs of the year with this Shohei Ohtani. I mean, 444,000 parallel ones. This card was used like crazy, man. And then obviously Byron Buxton, way to start things off with a bang. This Buxton was unanimously loved. I mean, obviously Byron Buxton is as well. But let's go and look at MLB The Show 22, the season so far, and who we might expect to get some cards here. Also, before I get into the video, I wanted to quickly shout out MLB The Show Card Art. They're the ones who made the cards for the thumbnail, and they make a lot of really cool edits for, you know, potential cards in MLB The Show. You know, this was their edit on what Trout and Ohtani's live series cards could look like. They do this all year with some really cool designs too. Like, for example, made a Ty France and Byron Buxton mock-up for the player of the month. Made honestly a pretty cool look at what an all-star series could look like with Seiya Suzuki and Buxton for the all-star game in LA this year, and tons of other stuff too. And I want to thank them for helping to make the thumbnail, and their link is in the description if you want to go follow them on Twitter. So like I mentioned, there's 7 diamonds in this April Player of the Month program from last year. I don't think there'll be that much this year, but also we have to, first of all, understand 91 Andre Dawson is incorporated into this. So they're incorporating a little bit more of a legend aspect. Maybe as the months roll on, this will be a theme as well into Player of the Month. Let's go now look at MLB The Show 22 and what we could expect to be some more Tops Now cards probably in this slot and this slot as well. But stage 2 is where Andre Dawson sits. Stage 3 is where the ending of the program's going to be. And there's a lot of potential cards here. But let's first talk about Anthony Rizzo and somebody that I think could be getting one of like the low diamonds for the Player of the Month program. This guy's been absolutely crushing it in a Little League ballpark. I'm joking, I had to throw that in there. But Anthony Rizzo's been doing a phenomenal job for the New York Yankees at first base. As of right now, he leads Major League Baseball in home runs. He has an over 1,000 OPS. He's, like I said, been crushing the ball for New York. And I think he could have like that 84, 85, 86, maybe an 87 level diamond to start off the Player of the Month program. And putting an emphasis on him leading the league in home runs right now with 8, I mean, you could expect an 86, 87 Anthony Rizzo to have around 90 to near 100 power. And with that kind of a swing, I really love Rizzo. And if Anthony Rizzo does get a card, just a little bit of a note, we're getting so many left-handed batters that are like considered OP. Not that I need to tell you about Randy Johnson, but Dontrelle Willis is a little bit low on the market to me right now. I think he'll be skyrocketing in price with this influx of left-handed batters coming. Another one coming up here. JP Crawford had to listen to all offseason. The Mariners need a shortstop. They need to get Trevor Story. They need to get Carlos Correa. Mainly Trevor Story is who they were in line for, but here comes JP Crawford just lighting the cover off the ball right now. Currently a 1,000 OPS, 444 on base percentage, but also 3 homers, 9 driven in, stolen base as well, batting 343. And like I mentioned, yet another left-handed batter, putting further emphasis on left-handed pitching that you should put in your bullpen rotation. But a JP Crawford batting 343, maybe even like an 87 to 89 overall diamond. Have to imagine near 100 contact both sides. He's been batting pretty well against both sides. And then the power probably around 60 or 70, but that contact and that defense, a little bit of speed there as well. Middle infield's very crowded, so not that you're going to be starting at JP Crawford. You might use him as a bench bat. Mariners fans will love him for sure. Now, I know what you're thinking. Jurickson Profar has literally never gotten a high overall diamond in his life in MLB The Show. And when I was showing you these stats, you might agree that he shouldn't get one for April Player of the Month program. But going into the points that I made earlier, he is batting .210, but he's already got 15 RBIs. He has 5 home runs. He's a super utility guy, like I mentioned. His ability to play the entire infield and the entire outfield, having a guy with like 5 home runs, I mean, they could make Profar, even if it's a gold card or if it's a low diamond. I mean, what a card to have in BR. I'm rooting for Jurickson Profar 1 to have a really fun card in Diamond Dynasty for the Player of the Month program. 1, because he deserves it. He's never gotten a big diamond. And 2, the community would love it. Like having a Danny Santana like player, because Danny Santana can play everywhere. Jurickson Profar can play everywhere with a decent swing. I honestly haven't used him all that much to have a like greater knowledge of what he can do, but it'd be a pretty fun like low to mid 80s card that again is a super utility guy and hopefully will be a part of the Player of the Month program. And in case you weren't keeping track of me mentioning all these left-handed batters that you should definitely start stacking some lefties in your rotation and bullpen for, Eric Hosmer is batting over 400. And if you thought Eric Hosmer was going to produce like this for the season, you're nuts. And I'm happy he's playing well because I like Eric Hosmer. He would be a little like anti-Anthony Rizzo in that he would have stupid contact numbers. Let's imagine, for example, like an 89 to 90 overall Eric Hosmer. That Hosmer would have 105, 110 contact, probably around like upper 60s, low 70s to mid 70s power. But that contact's going to play a really big deal into how well Hosmer could play for you. Obviously, only a first baseman, so that sucks. You're always looking for position versatility. But at the very least, it'd be a fun bench bat to have because he does have a very good swing. So going into one of my really big hopefuls. Now, Joe Ryan does not have an elite mix at all. Maybe they change it up if he were to get a diamond. But Joe Ryan was traded for like 2 months of Nelson Cruz last year. He is well on his way to be the Rookie of the Year so far in 2022. Joe Ryan leads Major League Baseball with a very nice .69 whip. And like I mentioned, they can maybe add a sinker onto his mix here. And if this is the mix on a Diamond Joe Ryan, obviously not that exciting, but it'd be fun to get like maybe 89, 90 overall Joe Ryan. But to me, the story without a doubt is what you saw in the thumbnail of the mock-up of a high overall Pablo Lopez. Now, this guy has the mix of like a Corey Kluber from MLB The Show 20. I mean, having cutter, sinker, slurve, and a circle change primary as well. A high overall Pablo Lopez, and he certainly deserves it after the season he's put up so far, would be unbelievable. I mean, like, this would be one of the best starters in the game. And, you know, somebody that I mentioned has a phenomenal mix. And I would imagine that when we look back earlier in the video at Corbin Burns, this card that he got from April last year, that Pablo Lopez would fit that role for this Player of the Month, be like a 92, 93 overall if they are going that high. Maybe he's 91 or 92 overall starter with a phenomenal mix, and he'd be the #1 starting pitcher from this drop. But who I think the lightning card will be is honestly between two people, is Seiya Suzuki and Jose Ramirez. Now, Jose Ramirez has had a phenomenal season so far, and he would be a super fun, I mean, both the guys would be a super fun Player of the Month card, but J-Ram would obviously be a really incredible Player of the Month. We've gotten so many Player of the Month cards from him throughout the years. You know, I mentioned him be a switch hitter, his positions that he can play as well. He would have, you know, great defense, solid speed, but his bat is just so good. And this would really, and like I'm saying Seiya Suzuki because I think that it'd be really fun to have him as well. But J-Ram is like, that brings a lot of flair. Like that to me brings a lot of excitement to the Player of the Month program, and that would be a giant drop if they did. But the rookie Seiya Suzuki, 4 homer, 14 RBI, over 1,000 OPS. I mean, obviously, compared to J-Ram, you should make the argument that J-Ram should be up there as well. But Seiya Suzuki has a lot of positions he can play defensively, and I think another guy that brings a lot of excitement. You know, you talk about new players and new cards for people to use. It's really fun to have high overall diamonds of guys you're not used to typically using, and Seiya Suzuki would be that for a lot of people. And it would be a pretty comparable card too. I mean, he would have probably upper 80s, low 90s contact, mid to lower 90s power, like Torkelson like hitting stats, but he'd also couple it with a ton of positions to play defensively, maybe even up to 80 speed with some solid defense too. But between Suzuki and JRAM, you really can't go wrong. And my last comment on the April Player of the Month program is that I feel like hidden within this in some capacity could be some face of the franchise packs. Now, I've talked about it on my stream before that those cards in general, the face of the franchise cards, are just selling for way too cheap right now. I think they're going to go up in price, and they might have some more ways to pull them in these mystery spots right here. This is all speculation, like I mentioned. But April Player of the Month program is coming up soon. As of right now, it's April 28th when I'm recording this video. So we'll find out who ends up getting that Player of the Month nod. But a lot of people could be getting it. So comment below who you'd like to see. I appreciate you guys for watching the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.